Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I'm going to be strengthening my belief on why I went so hard for leverage inside of the market. I am very confident in saying that Bitcoin is going to be breaking new all-time highs some point inside of this cycle, and that's why I'm going to be doing my part to be buying and accumulating while the market is giving us this amazing sell-off. I have always believed that we still have one more major move inside of this cycle, and so any deep sell-off that we get before that point is an opportunity for me to get back into the market, strengthen my leverage positions, and I'm going to be teaching you guys exactly what I'm looking for, what I'm going to be watching for over the next couple weeks, and how to go about profiting off of it as well. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. Make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server or download my free ebook. Links are going to be in the description to go ahead and find both. With that being said, we got a lot of really cool stuff to talk about today. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alrighty guys, so here we are talking about Bitcoin for the day. Now what I had been talking about and what I'd been updating you guys with this indicator down here was some of the bullish divergence that we had that was forming throughout this period of time. Now obviously that failed when we started to break through support, and so what I want to talk to you guys about is really just the bigger picture on why I still believe that support is ultimately going to hold, and why, you know, there's a couple different charts that we can look at that are also going to be giving us a clear understanding aside from just the crypto charts. We can look at crypto, but that's only going to give us one idea when there's a few different other markets that crypto tends to follow. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is once again talking about divergences inside the market and how accurate they've really been up to this point. Now, this is the OBV on a daily time frame. A daily time frame is going to be a much more accurate time frame, which is why I expected that we would probably hold here, but we didn't when we got a deep sell-off that really just sliced straight through that. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about was a few different signals that we've had in the past and how it was actually a reversal point in knowing when a major bottom was going to take place. Now, what I find interesting is we had a lot of divergence, bearish divergence up here at the cycle top that had been forming since pretty much this move up here. And so we can stay overbought and oversold for periods of time, but on the short-term corrections and this move that we saw here, we saw very clear examples of divergence. Right here we saw clear examples of divergence, and that signals both a bottom and a top. Now, I've been looking for this as, once again, a good opportunity to be looking for a divergence inside of where is our bottom going to be right now, because I believe divergences are going to kind of give us a clue as to where and when that's going to take place. Now, the thing I want you guys to remember, when we look at the daily time frame for the OBV, it shows that our bottom was all the way over here at about the end of January. That was where the OBV actually got our lowest low, right? What we're focusing on is this consolidation here over the last 100 days. Now, if you guys notice, we've made a lower low. This price action has already made a lower low. We're getting a deep sell-off, taking us back below the lowest point of this wick as well as this wick over here at 34.5. And what's interesting about the OBV is this is still well above and beyond our lowest low that we set in over here. And so no matter really where this bottom takes place, because at this point with us being kind of at below support in this deep sell-off, we're at a point where you could literally see a reversal at any point. At the same way, we can see this kind of fall a little bit lower, and I really wouldn't be surprised to see this retest all the way down here at our base lows. Anywhere from about 29,000 to 32,000, that is really the spot in which I would be looking if we don't bounce here already, because I think it's equally as good of an opportunity to buy now as it would be if we dipped a little lower, because with us getting such a big sell-off, I mean, this is a massive sell-off to have a lot of red consecutive candles in here, 23%, without any sort of significant bounce. So I think even right now is a great opportune time, which is once again why I'm strengthening my bet that the bottom is close to being in, if not already, by maximizing my spot holdings that I've just been holding in cold storage. I'm now using these to basically take out small leverage positions and double up on my bags. I think it's an amazing opportunity inside the market, and I wouldn't be doing this with my long-term portfolio if I didn't fully believe in what is to come long-term. That's why I'm not getting shaken out by this. I'm doing the opposite. Instead of, sitting here saying, well, it could go lower, it could go higher, I'm sitting here saying, hey guys, I'm taking my long-term investments that I haven't touched in years, and I'm literally going long with this stuff. So obviously do your own due diligence. I'm not saying that you should copy me. If you guys do decide to do anything like this, I would use fractions of your portfolio. I would set a stop loss. I would never, ever, ever risk without a stop loss in place. And you're only ever going to risk, I'd say 5% in each trade. I'd say 5 to 10% in your stop loss maximum. And then what you're risking in that position size, because you guys got to remember, you have to take a small position size. You take the position, and then you're also exercising a stop loss once you're entered into the position. So realistically, what you're risking when it comes to your total portfolio should just be a fraction of a percent. It should be a very small amount. And so everything that I'm doing is my personal trading plan. What I tell you guys I'm doing is literally just what I'm doing inside the crypto markets. And so this is what I feel confident enough to do with my portfolio, is to exercise some of the long-term gains that I can by going long with them. I've just been sitting with them, so I might as well do something with it as well. I can let it work in two different ways without actually taking on a ton of risk. And what I see here, this to me does not look sustainable. No matter what way I look at this just looks to me like we're going to bounce. In the short term, I wouldn't be surprised if we even bounced up here. Came back up to about 34.5 to 35,000, and maybe we fall back down to retest the low, and this is a lower high once again, or maybe we make a higher high and set in some type of bottom formation. I'm not 100% sure. I know that there's going to be chop throughout this period. We're going to get some swings up, we're going to get some swings down. But for me, I personally think that this is not going to be making a lower low on the OBV. This will probably end up bottoming relatively soon here. And then if that stitches in some type of a higher high like this, that's a major bullish divergence that'll form over a course of 100 plus days of consolidation, right? And so I just think that that's a really big thing to pay attention for. There's a lot of emotion inside the market as we get through these big sell-offs. It's really easy when you don't really have a ton of technical analysis experience or experience in the market itself. When this stuff starts happening, it's really easy to get yourself shaken out, panic sell, make bigger losses, when all we really ever had to do was either buy more or just stick to the original plan. The end goal for me is once again still 250,000, 300K Bitcoin. I'm going to sell if it starts breaking out of the all-time highs. We're above 100,000. I'm just going to start taking profits. I'm not going to sit one specific price target that I'm just going to wait to. I mean, if that's your plan, whatever. But I'm going to do my part by just scaling out when we make a new all-time high. I believe a major blow-off top's coming. This is an opportunity to accumulate. And one of the things I like to look to, because of the correlation that it has with the crypto markets and Bitcoin, is actually the stock market. Now, the stock market and Bitcoin have an intense correlation, the equities and Bitcoin market. And I think the reason why is just because it's a lot more of a risky type investment, being Bitcoin, and then the stocks are a lot more risky as well compared to more of a commodity like gold, where it's meant as more of a store of value, right? Stocks are a lot more of a gamble like Bitcoin. Now, what I wanted to point to you guys about is some of the many corrections that we've had basically since the 2008 financial crisis, and really how it's no different than what we're seeing today. We could go a little bit lower inside of this correction, and it wouldn't really change anything on the bigger picture. But the point I'm trying to make is your classic example of an ABC correction, and it's just a lower high and lower low. Lower high, lower low. And that's what an ABC correction looks like. You can have different variances of an ABC where it can go like this and go up. But for the most part, you're going to see a lower high and then a lower low. And this is what the stock market generally does inside of many corrections. And we've seen this, a number of times throughout the history. We could even dive into the shorter time frames and find this a million different times. Now, what I think is interesting is the fact that we're also doing the same thing over here today with this major correction and consolidation that we've been in ever since, the end of December. Now, what I've noticed here on the OBV is even though we're getting a lower low in here, it's following the same ABC type corrective structure. But what we see on the OBV is ever since our low stitched in at about mid-March, we've made a lower low in price, but we've actually made a higher high and we're trending upwards on the OBV. And so if this continues to drop lower, we could set in another higher high here. This could still go quite a bit lower, and I expect it probably would. This will probably peak down a little bit lower. This will probably peak down a little bit lower. But as long as we hold support on this black trend line, and it doesn't matter what the price does, but as long as the OBV holds support here, that would be two higher highs, and that would be bullish divergence and then hidden bullish divergence on the shorter time frames. With the stock market and with a daily time frame, that's a pretty big signal, especially with the OBV. And then our last signal would be if we could get some type of breakout and consolidation outside of the resistance of this OBV, then that, in my opinion, would be our 100% confirmation that you could really jump into longs at that point and it wouldn't be so risky. Or at least the risk would be minimal and you could jump out with a tight stop loss. Now, that is what I'm seeing in the short term with... Okay. You're being too loud, baby girl. You're being kind of crazy with that. So that's what I'm seeing in the short term with the stock market, and with the stock market being so closely correlated with Bitcoin, Bitcoin's going to follow this. Now what I see here, it just looks like we're finishing out 5 impulse waves, or I should say 3 impulse waves, with wave 5 being in the process of completion right now. This could, like I said, go down a little bit lower. I'm not trying to call a bottom. I'm trying to share with you guys the fact that we are at a point of reversal. We are at a point of exhaustion inside of our indicators, and that's the big thing that I think we should focus on right now in the short term. With Bitcoin approaching this major support level that we held a bunch of times over here, we have broke below our wicks right here in the short term, but we're not super deep below those, and with us holding momentum above right here, if we can stitch in a higher high on the OBV here on the daily, in my opinion, that's going to be a really big indicator as well. Both of them on the stock market as well as Bitcoin are kind of stitching this in. This consolidations look different, of course. Bitcoin's way more volatile. So let's actually dive into the shorter time frames and talk about a few things here and just kind of see the shorter time frames and what we could expect moving forward. Now, the big thing that I think we should pay attention for is going to be a short-term bounce. I do believe that we're due for one, and it'll probably take us back up towards the bottom of these wicks here. I would expect that on the short term we would bounce. We could easily just get rejected here, and that would be a lower high until we make one more lower low. Like I said, this thing can dip all the way back down to 29,000. We can retest the bottom of that range that we were at last time, and I don't think anybody should be riding off that potential. And so if that's the case, we would expect a bounce somewhere in this region after such a deep correction here. It doesn't have to, but I would on the short term like to see a bounce, and I do think that we will most likely see that. Retest this high, retest this low up in here. And then from here, anything can happen. I'm 100% letting you guys know that we should expect a lot of chop in the short term, whatever direction that this resolves. I do think that in the short term we would end up hitting this. I don't think that you guys, if you watch the market start uptrending in the next couple days, we start getting a couple green days, I wouldn't try and be buying into that. The time to buy would be basically right now as we're getting the sell-off. And so regardless, I don't think it changes the big picture for me. I'm going to keep watching for the same stuff. Wanted to give you guys this update. It's just a way to summarize some of my thoughts, questions, and concerns inside the market. If you guys found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos. If you guys want to join the Discord server, download my free ebook, join the VIP with my signals. Links are in the Discord, and links are in the description for all of that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.